Friends, they always ask me, is awareness the key? And I say yes. Awareness is the key to possibly early and a complete management. Let's talk about prostate and prostate awareness and early management happen to be very important indicators of understanding of the society on diseases which can affect an organ deep inside your body. As a urologist, I and my colleagues in this country are interested in making you aware of an organ which undergoes a progressive change, and the change could sometimes be detrimental to your health. As graceful aging happens, such changes can actually be very tough at times to comprehend because the changes are very, very slow and very progressive. Let's take, for instance, the questions which come in all the time from colleagues on the other side of the table on a consultation, like it happens today in the office. For example, somebody asked me, what are the worrisome prostate diseases that a man can suffer from? So, prostate is something which is a gland that is below the bladder, at the level of the bladder neck, and therefore almost controls the flow of urine because the urine as a passage through the prostatic urethra is controlled by this prostate gland around. So worrisome prostate diseases which could affect people in the prime of life, I would say 40s to 80s, are basically divided into progressive changes or acute changes. So progressive changes are one which in a common man's term talked about as prostatic enlargement. A prostatic enlargement which you on health checkup or on a sonography pick up as a size of a prostate, which then starts bothering you. As age is gradually changing, there are various changes happening in life, but the prostate is one which will undergo a hormonal change, and that change brings about a hypertrophy or enlargement of the gland. As a urologist, while enlargement of the gland is happening and it's a common term used as BPH, the doctor is interested in knowing what is it doing to your urinary passage. And you are the master who actually can tell us what changes are happening. So prostate, which controls the urinary passage, the urinary pipe which comes out of the bladder and which controls the flow of urine, is because there's an occlusion happening as a result of a possible enlargement. I always say a very small prostate can bring about a lot of blockage in the urine, whereas a very large prostate can become large without having much symptoms. And therefore, it is enlarged to a point in time where it bothers you in terms of the size, but is not causing that occlusion. So, a very small prostate can bring about a large occlusion to the urinary passage, and a very large prostate may bring about a very minimal or a small occlusion to the urinary passage. And what you and I are interested today is the occlusion of the urinary passage or the obstruction to the urinary passage, which gives all these symptoms which men come with. So the next question is, are there other worrisome diseases that we should be bothered about? Yes. In today's world of awareness and today's world where we are picking up diseases early, a prostate disease where the whole situation has gone in a different direction, where a transformation happens instead of a benign disease called BPH, it can convert to a cancerous change called carcinoma prostate or prostate cancer. A very talked about disease in terms of men going through it in the prime of their life, because this change can be either very early without any overt symptoms or could come very delayed where the progression has happened from the prostate to the locoregional areas and then spread to the liver and to the bones and to other areas. So as a result of the hormone change and the internal environment changing in the prostate, the changes can happen in the enlargement, which again happens in the prime of life and not very young people, or it could enlarge and cause that kind of an obstruction where you can have an emergency. So what are the emergencies which can happen as a result of prostatic changes? Number one is it was gradually enlarging and you never knew about it. You knew about it, but it was so silent and gradual, you didn't pick up a poor flow or an obstruction to the flow. One fine day, you may get complete blocked urine. You could not pass a completely full bladder, which was looking better to you till yesterday. So people in the prime of life, in elderly people in the 50s to 80s, do come here with a retention of urine or blockage of urine, which was almost not known to them till day before yesterday or yesterday. So for 6, 8, 12 hours, they're not passed urine. They come with an acute painful retention of urine or blockage of urine, which necessarily needs to be safeguarded and treated immediately by draining the urine, which is blocking that entire aspect of the bladder outflow. So the outflow is obstructed because of a gradual progressive change till a point in time when it has become completely occlusive. So acute retention of urine or blockage of urine is a very severe kind of complication that could happen to a man who thought till yesterday he was completely normal. There could be another way altogether. From an acute retention of urine, let's talk about chronic retention of urine. That means the urinary passage is gradually blocking, and I'm not able to empty my bladder completely. But I cannot surmise that. I'm not aware that my urinary residual volumes are high. And one fine day, when you come in around carrying an ultrasound report where the bladder is holding 300 ml or 700 ml of urine. You may not be knowing too much. It's not painful to you. You've learned to live with a bladder which is so elastic, now stretched to a point in time where so much amount of urine is left over after you pass urine. We all know that when we pass urine, we almost empty our bladder completely. So what happened here? Chronic retention of urine or blockage of urine happened very gradually, progressively, bringing about changes in the sensation of the bladder. So the bladder sensations are much lower. The bladder contraction power is already lesser, because of which the bladder is not able to push urine out through a progressive bladder outflow obstruction. And one fine day you go into retention, where you wake it up that my blockage is such significant that ultrasound shows I've got a huge amount of urine left in the bladder. So that's a sad situation, that you don't have discomfort or pain, and therefore your bladder has got lesser sensations, and you come in a chronic retention of urine. Your doctor again will look at making you understand, place a catheter, keep it for a longer period of time, and then study and take it forward. So friends, you're talking about worrisome prostate diseases. In one way, an acute retention of urine or a chronic retention of urine could be two different kinds of complications which can happen as a result of progressive prostate change, which is happening with your knowledge, or maybe just skipped your mind in the busy schedule that you have in the prime of your life. The other changes which could happen is recurrent urinary tract infection. So recurrent urinary tract infection in a man, in a male, could be because of possibly an obstruction, possibly because you have an obstruction to the urinary outflow. If it's a younger man in his 20s, 30s getting recurrent urinary infections, an examination will tell us whether it's an occlusive phimosis or the skin is too tight if he's not circumcised, whether there's a urethral stricture or a blockage in the urinary passage. But if you see an elderly gentleman in the 50s to 80s with prostatic occlusion and enlargement, with ultrasound showing residual volumes which are higher, almost necessarily the urine is not emptying completely and it is getting infected, like a stagnant kind of a pool. It doesn't empty completely. So it's a wake-up call for all men who get urinary tract infection again and again and are being treated only with antibiotics. We need to go to the very core of the problem. So looking at the smoke and the fire will not help us, because down there is a flame which is actually causing the smoke and the fire. So down there is an obstruction which is causing urine to stay back, and the urine staying back there, becoming a stagnant pool in which stones can form, in which debris can form, in which you can develop an infection, making which ascend and cause pyelonephritis. So friends, progressive chronic change happening, which brings about deterioration to the bladder function also, with the bladder becoming inelastic, with the bladder being stretched too much, while it becoming a pop-up valve and the kidneys getting silently affected, or the urine staying back there in large amount, becoming a forerunner of recurrent UTIs, a debris out there which actually coalesce together to form stones, or all those kind of complications which can happen very progressively, silently, without you knowing. So it's a great wake-up call today that we need to prevent all this happening in human beings who are progressively aging and changes happening. All men would go through it in a milder form, mildest form, or at the prime of their life, or very elderly, when changes have progressively happened and we have not picked up. Acute prostatitis or an infection can happen in the prostate gland. Prostate gland itself, a walnut-shaped gland which is gradually increasing in size, is like a honeycomb organ, where an infection, when hits it, possibly can progress completely and could trouble you. So wake-up call today is acute prostatitis or an acute severe infection in a young man, in a middle-aged man or elderly man, happening because of an infection within the body or the parenchyma of the prostate, can lead to a real CVMS. Not able to pass urine, passing with a lot of difficulty, burning sensation while passing urine, running fever, all these aspects in the background where the urine has always been passing in the fluid. Or there's a possibility post-sexually transmitted infection. The prostate becomes a seat of infection and leads to a kind of infection which has become progressive, acute or chronic kind of a situation. You have got exacerbations and you are labeled as a chronic prostatitis. I, as a urologist, and my colleagues in the city look into these kind of cases coming in young men, in middle age, and elderly men. And therefore, wake up call today is for all men who have got issues on the prostate, all men who have got issues in urine. You need to see a urologist. You need not miss it out. So see your urologist in your towns and your cities and prevent yourself from getting into the complications I talked about. So worrisome prostate diseases can happen without your knowledge, without your permission, and it's a very slow progress which is happening around for all of us from late 40s, early 50s to 70s, 80s, and 90s. So somebody asked me, what are those symptoms of an enlarged prostate? That means, doctor, my ultrasound shows a prostate is enlarged from 20 grams 2 years ago to now 35 grams in the last 2 years. What could it bring about as a complaint or as a trouble to me? And the complaint is telling on your face. When we ask the important questions of quality of life, when they tell that they have got two different kinds of problem, as a result of the prostatic change. The prostatic change, which is talked about as an enlargement on the ultrasonography to a urologist, is actually an occlusion to the urinary passage. So imagine the door is gradually closing down and the bladder, which was emptying smoothly in a very computerized mechanism, is not emptying anymore. The two kinds of symptoms which patients present with are obstructive or the voiding symptoms and irritative or the storage symptoms. Let's go deep into it. The obstructive voiding symptoms are resulting of because of obstruction. What are the obstructions that a man can develop? So he develops a poor flow of urine. His flow is not as good as it was when he used to paint on the wall before he could pass with that trajectory and the speed. The flow is gradually going down, and we respect that, we accept it in our stride. But why should it go down beyond a point in time when you're taking a longer time than your peers to empty? You don't empty your bladder completely, incomplete evacuation. You strain and push to pass urine because the amount of resistance being applied by the prostate gradually occluding the urinary passage doesn't let this bladder push it. So it's not a bladder which has a contraction power and capability of pushing in life. All that which can be pushed out and make your residual volume as close to minimal doesn't happen anymore. And what happens in the end is the bladder has to contract. Now the abdomen or the tummy has to push around. So you're doing a Valsalva's or a Creed's maneuver of pushing urine out of the urinary system as a result of a progressive change happening. So obstructive voiding symptoms are difficulty in urinating, difficulty in starting the urination, which we call as hesitancy, obstructive narrow flow of urine, incomplete evacuation, and many a times you go multiple times to evacuate the same thing, obviously straining a lot. That's one aspect of obstruction. And go to the other aspect. As a result of this occlusion or obstruction, what is happening to the bladder? The bladder is facing the secondary challenge, which was not there before in the young age. In the young age, the bladder would fill up, you would unzip yourself, the bladder would contract and empty the urine. It's not happening anymore. What is happening is the bladder has to push, push, push. It's learning a habit. It's learning an automatic habit in this computerized body that God gave you. The bladder, instead of contracting very easily, has to contract more frequently. It's scared about not able to empty. So the bladder learns a regimen of irritation or storage symptoms. That means there is more frequency, contracting again and again. There's an urgency where you possibly leak urine if you can't control, which is called as urge incontinence. So more frequency, the bladder causes excessive contractions as a part of the new regimen. It is learned around to pass urine through the obstruction, and therefore urgency can convert into urge incontinence if you can't reach the toilet. Friends, believe me, more and more patients come these days talking about urgency, frequency, and urge incontinence, which is a recent onset phenomena in the background of the obstruction, which is a long-standing phenomenon. So had we, as aware individuals in society, picked up this important aspect of knowing that an obstruction could cause trouble to the flow and could cause trouble to the bladder, we would have picked up things earlier. Therefore, it's important for us to wake up today that the obstructive voiding, if anybody has it, and the irritative voiding or the storage symptoms, which are more bothersome symptoms to somebody in the prime of the life where they leak urine, can't control, the clothes get wet, don't know where to go to, decreasing less water, therefore looking at toilets in public places, bring them more faster and closer to us, which is a little later phenomenon, not necessarily always early. So for all men in the 50s to 80s who have got complaints in urine, where the flow is poor, not able to empty completely, straining to pass urine, and have now developed frequency, urgency, urge incontinence, isn't it time for you to see your urologist in your cities, get that sorted, and leave a better and a happier situation on the prime of your lives? What happens is many of these individuals actually take medical management, and that's the way to go. The medicines are made today such that we could control all your symptoms after an interview or a friendly discussion that we have across the table to identify all the complaints that you have. Not that everybody has got all the complaints enlisted, but that complaints that you have can be treated completely, which means you pick up early. And therefore, we're talking about today, early management is a key if there's a wonderful awareness in the society. And that awareness is what we want to bring you from the Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital. So when I see these patients from Monday morning till Saturday evening, I look at identifying that why were you late? So many of these patients are on medical management already. So they are given medicines which improve the flow. They are also given medicines which control the urination. And while these two things are being done by our fellow colleagues in various specialties across the country, your urologist is keenly interested in looking at the effect of these medicines. That means you take a medicine, the result should come. You take a paracetamol, the fever should go away. So if you take a medicine, the effect should come. That means you are a master of your own destiny. You have some complaints, you saw a urologist, your results were quantified into what you're going through. and we put you on the right regimen of therapies or combination of whatever is being given to you, so that your flow becomes a cascade of improvement, your control becomes better than what you have, your bothersomeness is gradually improving. What if it's not improving? And therefore, in any medical disease, be it diabetes, be it hypertension, there's always a churning and identifying in an algorithmic way what dose suits somebody. Somebody may require more than one medicine, somebody may require a change in dosages, and therefore we follow these patients' care. So remember, for all practical purposes, patients have been taking medicines for prostate issues for more than 2 years and 10 years, not getting the result. Getting a result only this much, but not completely. But as a urologist, what am I and my friends looking at? We are looking as doctors across the table to get you the result, which would probably give you a relief, a control, and a long and a lasting kind of a result on these medications. Obviously, many a times the medications are long. We continue it for many years or many months, or we escalate and de-escalate as required, and look at the larger picture of you not getting into trouble. So friends, it is important that on medical management for prostate diseases, whether it's chronic prostatitis, whether it's obstructive warding, whether it's irritative warding, on issues of control, issues of obstruction, it is almost required that you follow your doctors in the cities where you look at or you translocate. Your urologist is your friend after your 50s to take care of your urinary health, right from the kidneys down to the genitals, and in between that important organ, which is at the junction between the urinary and the sexual passages, the prostate. We're talking of prostate, friends, and we're looking at what treatment regimens are available today and what were available in the yesteryears. I remember 25 years ago when I was a student in urology, there were not so many medicines available. Many of them were off-label. And today we are spoiled for choice. There are wonderful medications available, and we can fine-tune dosages and give young people these medications, middle-aged these, and elderly people these. We can look at combinations where we can shrink your gland, where you can improve your flow, where we look at controlling your urgency frequency, getting a balance where you can do well in the daytime. Why daytime? Also at night. And we talk about this at the Kokilaben Hospital, where we run this clinic called Nocturia Clinic, getting up multiple times at night. A very common complaint to elderly people where they get up more than once or twice. Where they get up partly because the urine production is more at night, partly because they are elderly and the sleep is already less dense or less intense, that they probably cannot sleep for 6 to 8 hours together. They probably would be awake every 1 hour, every 2 hours. They're tossing in the bed, waiting for the early morning birds to chirp and wake them up, and they don't want to disturb their peers at home. They're actually going through the agony of almost sleepless nights when they're elderly. So the sleep is less in elderly people. The urine production is more at night in elderly people, called nocturia, or the changes in the ADH secretion. And we at Kokilaben Hospital and Department of Urology run this walk-in nocturia clinic. You're getting a multiple times at night, which is bothersome to you, happening for a few weeks, few months, or few years. Walk in and see the urologist out here and you get sorted out. So nocturia is a bothersome complaint. You're getting a multiple times at night, and you probably at your age, of that age of 60s to 80s, may sadly be having Parkinsonism, arthritis, may not have the cognition to get up at night. You may fall down. You're worried about your nighttime health as much as you're worried about your daytime health. So it's important for all elderly people and all sons for their fathers to look at that. Elderly people are not getting up multiple times at night. If they are getting up, it could either be a sign of nocturia or getting up multiple times at night on one aspect, which I've spoken before on this. Other aspect could be an early sign of prostatism. Therefore, when we look at all elderly people getting recurrent urinary infections, getting up multiple times at night, while we examine them, talk to them, evaluate them, we also like to look at improving the quality of life on these aspects. Friends, awareness and early management is a key, is what we're talking today on prostate diseases. And then we're looking at what age group of patients do we talk about. So if somebody asks me, what age group of patients, doctor, you look at in such situations? So let me tell you that late 40s, early 50s are where a lot of young men are getting aware. They do their health checkups, they pick up things early, and ultrasound could be a stimulator where a sonography done shows that the prostate is enlarged. And that's good enough for them to see the urologist in whichever location they live and work in around. They see the urologist. Urologist is interested as much in size of prostate, more so in what does the prostate do to this man. So if the prostate is enlarged, if there's a residual volume which is significant, if there are changes in the bladder only in terms of trabeculations or diverticulae formation or the bladder wall getting thickened, that means the bladder is overworking in the background of a very progressive silent change happening across the prostate. If the upper tracts or the kidneys are developing hydronephrosis, I think it's time a urologist would not let you go alone with the ultrasound report. He will work you up. He will work up. He will probably do the investigations and take you forward to a final conclusion where a therapy is instituted towards the long-term and short-term goals. The short-term goals are yours. You're worried and anxious about a prostatic enlargement. When looked upon your test, we'll find that your flow may be obstructed. You may be a little different from what the ultrasound has shown. And therefore, to see a urologist in your 50s with your ultrasound report is an important aspect. And therefore, we looked at, I remember having operated the 103 years elderly gentleman who had come with retention of urine from the city of Kutch, and we had operated him for an obstruction. He did well for the next 5 years. At the age of 108 years, he decided to probably leave us for heavens last year in the pandemic. So, which means that people want to live better. People want to live better, they want to improve their quality of life, and therefore, we landed up operating people in their 50s and landed up operating a 103-year-old saint, I would say the 103-year young saint, who continued to live a very happy life for 5 years more. Till in 2020, he probably could not do it anymore. So to us, all age groups are important. All age groups where we can pick up early and probably give you a medical management towards progressive aspects of cure, to an operative intervention to whom who have progressed beyond, who have got severe and moderately severe symptoms, where we need to treat them, where the refractory blockage cannot be treated medically. Where you come in with those kind of complications I did talk about earlier, which is acute retention of urine, chronic retention of urine, study you very well and look at what. And therefore, all young and not so young who go through a churning of urinary issues happening and are probably taking it in the stride and getting more busier with economics of their life need to wake up and understand that symptoms of prostatism, symptoms of prostate changes can be either very subtle and not be so overt as it was to some neighbor or your father or somebody elderly. An early pickup call is what we're talking about. We're not talking about the real root of something which is progressed. So friends ask me, what are the symptoms of prostate cancer? Prostate cancer may present with no symptoms, friends. And that's what is important for us to wake up. It could present as an enlargement of prostate, which you did in a routine health checkup. It could present with no clear-cut symptoms indicative of a cancer, but indicative of possibly obstruction. What does it mean? All obstructions are not cancers. All obstructions are change happening, and the change needs to be picked up. So for us, all patients who come with obstructive voiding symptoms, all patients who are beyond 50s, as a urologist, we look into a few things. One is clinically examine them, talk to them, evaluate them. So examination is a digital rectal examination where these fingers or the index fingers of all urologists are trained to examine you through the anal canal, through the rectum, feel the prostate, look at all right from the consistency to the hardness, to its configuration, to its size, get to know a lot about your prostate because these fingers have felt prostates for decades together. So we pick up a lot by digital rectal examination. That's something which is a lot innate in terms of feeling. Somebody may have a soft and homogeneous prostate and he goes scot-free on the other side. But somebody who has a hard, heterogeneous, asymmetrical prostate who has no complaints at all probably would come to the other side of the queue where we would become suspicious about them. So no complaints and you have a PSA which is more than 4 nanogram percent, or you have a raised PSA in a health checkup. You have a raised PSA when there are no urinary complaints. I think it's time for these patients to be looked into very closely. Are they cases of chronic prostatitis? Or are they cases silently lurking as probably prostate cancer is what we need to do. And that's an important aspect, friends. So prostate cancer is not a worry to a urologist because he picks it up in time. He could pick up very late, but he still has got therapies available. For a very advanced prostate cancer, we still have got great therapies which we used to practice decades ago. We still practice them with the basis of the evidence and the guidelines that we have today. That means we can still capably control you and keep you managed. But we are talking, friends, of early management is the key. And therefore, awareness of prostate cancer is important. So men beyond their 50s becoming friends with urologists is a more ideal state in 2021. That means you have got urinary complaints or none. You are 50 years young and plus, and you have got from 50 years onwards changes which are happening in the urinary system. Many of that cannot be visible to you or not be overt. And therefore, a sonography, a uroflowmetry, a serum PSA total, and an examination by a urologist would actually probably be the new definition of a health checkup in urology. That will give a lot of aspects we pick up. Obviously, we look at your kidney functions, we look at other functions too, including your sexual function, which many a times you're hesitant to speak about. 50s to 70s are men who are completely in the prime of their life and they miss out on sexuality. And we did talk about that, very important aspect of this talk about. So sexual aspects also are important ingrained. And people say, does sexuality and prostate have a meaning? I say that age has a meaning. As gracefully you age, your black hairs turn gray. You still cut cakes every year and continue to feel younger and you clap the whole year through. You actually are 1 year older or less younger. Changes are happening similarly in sexuality. If you are a diabetic, if you are a smoker, if you have got vascular diseases, and if you have got other endocrine issues, many changes happening very silently, which all contribute to erectile dysfunction, apart from the stress that you go through in the prime of your life, maintaining the balance of your life. So erectile dysfunction is a quality of life issue. Erectile dysfunction is not the disease of the male organ alone anymore. It is actually a barometer of your entire heart and your entire health. It's a barometer of what I would say a measurement of your heart. In other words, today an endothelial function or a vascular system is checked a lot by somebody having a very refractory erectile dysfunction. For example, a man is in his 50s to 60s, have a long-standing severe diabetes, has got hypertension, has got hypercholesterolemia, is possibly overweight, and he says, my erections are not improving, Dr. Pandey, with your best of medication that you give me and stimulate me. I would wake up. If somebody is not feeling better with the best of medication, and he has got all these risk factors of age, cigarette smoking, obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and vascular diseases, I would look at his heart. If you're not getting a good erection, you're possibly having a heart ticking in a wrong direction. So we're going to look at erectile dysfunction, erectile function, not only as organ-related stuff, but a marker of endothelial function or a vascular function. Therefore, those risk factors I talked about, middle-aged and elderly people, obese people, people who smoke their life out, people who are diabetics and hypertensive with or without control and long-standing, people who have got various vascular diseases, they're also at risk of various cardiac diseases very silently. So therefore, on erectile dysfunction, a doctor does not only look at the organ between the thighs, he also looks at the organ in the chest for the heart, he looks at your brain. We don't want a stroke, we don't want vascular issues happening with you. And therefore, as a urologist, we are aware that we combine with our cardiology and our physician colleagues and make a lot of you aware that erectile dysfunction is a very progressive barometer and a measurement. And therefore, we in urology clinics do talk to you irrespective of your middle-age and elderly age group, talk to you and get to know about your morning erections, your capability, your performance, and many in a traditional society don't perform. So that's completely fine with us. But as I said, early awareness and management is a key, and therefore we're aiming towards managing those things which will not be visible. And therefore somebody asked me, what would be your messages to the society on awareness of prostate diseases and prostate cancer? That I deal with prostate diseases as a urologist with my colleagues at the Coquitlam Hospital. I also look at in every city wherever you are, and the urologist works hard to make you understand what you may not understand. What you understand are reports, what you understand are your complaints. But beyond these two, the doctor's understanding of assimilation of your clinical condition and reports is what is important. And therefore, my message is just doing investigations and treating the investigative reports is not important. It's important to see a urologist, be friends with urologists in your city. Extremely important. Once you've done that, the urologist has looked at your complaints first. Imagine you have no complaints, you did a health checkup. Then he looks at your reports and then corroborates it with your performance. To me, uroflowmetry is the ECG of the urinary bladder. Like you have the ECG of the heart and you pick up so much. Then you do ECG of the heart, look up that PQRS complex, and then a cardiologist decide whether he will do an angiography or an angioplasty or a bypass, or he would let you go scot-free with some medicines around and follow you closely. Similarly, a urologist does an ECG of the urinary bladder called uroflowmetry. The examination that you give in a special computerized toilet in full bladder tells all about you. It really tells us as to what is your performance. What is the change which has happened in the computerized mechanism between the urinary bladder contracting and the passage opening? Something has gone wrong. A prostate which is enlarged or not enlarged, but causing an occlusion to the urinary passage. Bringing out a dysfunction to the urinary bladder, which is added upon by neurovascular dysfunction of spinal and brain diseases, which is added upon by a lot of elderly people by diabetes-related hypoactive or underactive bladder. Things do get augmented around in the message. So my message to society is, if you have got complaints, don't wait on it. If you have got complaints while you are on medical management of prostate diseases and not getting results, you stop medicine, you get a very poor flow. Your flow is not improved with medications, you've not got a relief. You must revisit a urologist and look at that you've not got the result that you're aiming for. Very, very important. While you're looking at all that, you're also looking at the prostate cancer does not have overt symptoms many a times. You may not get any symptoms at all. And suddenly you may land up with something where the PSA is grossly raised. Clinically, the digital rectal examination is completely abnormal. And as a urologist, I would request you to then undergo a transrectal prostate biopsy. A biopsy is the final test in picking up the diagnosis of what grade of prostate cancer we're dealing with. In an era where we have pushed awareness to the highest level in the society to you, we looked at people getting evaluated and examined in time. because the prostate cancer is completely curable when we pick up on. That we do robotic assisted cancer prostate surgery called radical prostatectomy. A radical prostatectomy is a cure. A radical surgery is a cure of a cancer. So radical prostatectomy, which was done in the open and laparoscopic era, done to a level where we can do with a very minimally invasive, precise way of snatching the prostate from the body and doing a reconstruction of the bladder and the urethra, giving you the control levels, maintaining your erectile function in the prime of your life. It's now possible that we do robotic assisted cancer prostate surgery, few per week, many per month, getting people to the cure that was never there. So friends, prostate cancer is completely picked up early because we evaluate patients towards an early evaluation when they come in a health checkup, when they come for a urology opinion for other issues. And therefore, it is important to talk about the robotic surgery, which has transformed so much in healthcare and so much in urology. As a robotic surgeon, as a urologist at the Kokilaben Hospital, I treat everything from kidney cancers to adrenal tumors to ureteric cancers to urinary bladder cancers and prostate cancers, apart from the reconstructive work which we do in robotics. Which means when you're talking about prostate today, an early pickup call, which actually help us to where we're aiming for. Robotic surgery has come as a very high definition, minimally invasive approach, which hospitals across the country and the world have employed as an important regime in their minimally invasive therapy on various other surgical domains, be it urogynecology, be it ear, nose, and throat, be it chest surgeries, be it general surgeries, be it gastro surgeries. The urology drives this important aspect where the surgical care for cure of prostate cancer is taken to very high levels, where improved from the days of open surgery, where we still do open surgery for many prostate cancers in many hospitals, including ours too. But we have transformed ourselves to robotic surgeons where this new technique of prostate cancer surgery, where we do a Retzius sparing, we do the traditional technique of the bladder drop down, and all this has helped us to probably bring a prostate cancer to a cure. Friends, we are talking about the prostate clinic that we run at the Kokilaben Ambani Hospital in the Department of Urology, where we and as colleagues in the Department of Urology on the second floor look at early and complete healing and cure of prostate diseases. The prostate diseases of benign prostatic enlargement going towards transformation of an advanced disease where you land up with retention, high residual volumes, recurrent infection, or completely transformed into a prostate cancer. All is treatable provided you see a urologist at night. And therefore, at the Department of Urology, where the vision is to look at your nighttime urination, not getting up multiple times at night, not leaking urine while you are at work or in a public place, looking at improvement of your flow on one side, picking up early prostate cancer on the other side, not letting you go through the regimen of chronic prostatitis, and attempting to do all is an important aspect. So the Kokilaben Ambani Hospital and Department of Urology, where we are sitting in a JCI NABH accredited hospital, looking at prostate management step by step to our friends in the society who may not be knowing so much, is a very important wake-up call. To me, this is a very important aspect which I wanted to bring to all of you who are in prime of your lives. We must look at identifying ourselves because we are people in prime of life, we are elderly people. If anybody has got a prostate cancer in his first degree relatives, which could be his father or his brother, he runs a risk higher than peers in the society, and therefore we look into probably identifying them earlier. So this awareness of prostate diseases, awareness that we look into these and probably pick it up in time, is an important wake-up call. Is an important wake-up call where many a times it may be missed around. And therefore, to bring about that to all of you in the society is very important. On the YouTube channel where this is being posted around, we've been speaking about this important aspect of looking at prostate diseases A to Z and helping you out in time. So right from the health checkup that you did for other aspects and you picked up something very incidental, do you have complaints that you have never addressed to? Do you have complaints you have postponed? Or do you have complaints in urinary issues which is possibly not got the result from the medical management we are doing? We're dealing with a surgical disease today, which we can medically transform and probably deviate the natural history. But that may not happen in every. The treatment regimens are such that we need to continue meeting our urologist at the frequency and the time decided by them, which could be as less as once in a year or could be as closely as once in a few weeks to a few months. We look at getting to a level from where you pass the exam and then finally get a gold medal on this subject. So friends, prostate diseases for men will always be there. It is important for us to identify ourselves in whichever country and city we live in whichever clinic and to whichever urologist we see. We need to probably sort it out once and for all. We need to look at that I will be on a therapy, I'll be on a treatment, and I'll get cured, which is what I'm aiming for. Thank you so much.